Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So today is our review on the Axial SCX10 Deadbolt. Now, I usually don't wait this long to do a review, as you guys know, but in this case I had to. Anyways, I got this about a month ago. I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I've been on and off trails with it, on and off video as well, you know, and so I've been able to form a pretty good opinion, and I think it's time for the review. This is going to be a very mixed review, because I have a lot of mixed feelings about the truck. But overall, yes, I'm happy with it. Yes, I would buy it again and again and again and again. I really like the truck, but it does have some side effects that are very disappointing, but it also has some nice bonuses to it that kind of make up for that in a lot of ways, but some of the things really should have been proper to begin with. So my overall star rating on this thing is 3.5 out of 5. Owie! Yeah, that hurt a little bit. Yes, it did. We all know things aren't perfect, which always loses a little bit there. But this thing loses on us. Well, let's just talk about the bad points, shall we? No back bumper. This is critical. You need back and front bumpers, Axial. Okay? Otherwise, problems happen. It's a 50 bucks to replace the shell plus shipping for a new shell. That's not amusing, okay? My first time out with this, I almost busted the rear end of my shell on a light wipeout. And so I had to do something right away because no money, you know, 390 bucks to my door, okay? I mean, I don't have a lot of money and I had to save for this as it was. Anyways, so I makeshifted my own back bumper that actually works quite awesomely for now. Okay, and so that's going to stay together. I'm going to be doing a ton of mods on this thing. Some I really have no choice but to do, and others I just want to do. So that's downside number 1. Okay, downside number 2, not very much suspension travel in the front. It's very little. There's a lot more in the rear. Okay, but not so much up front. The seat channel actually bangs right into your steering. So I'm going to get some longer shocks, at least about 10 millimeters longer, which will beef this thing up a little bit. It'll probably actually stand about here normally. So that'll be good. And I'll probably figure I'm going to need them anyways because I'm going to put dual batteries into this thing. I'm actually going to run a second battery tray up front, and then I'm going to grab myself either 2 2-cells or 2 3-cells, run them in parallel at about 4,000 milliamps a piece. Right now I'm down to 1 3-cell. I had 2, but my one puffed on me. But it was one from my airplane that I crashed this summer. It finally died. But I still got this little guy, and it's about 2,200 milliamps. And actually this runs me the entire, easy 2 hours of just trail running, so not bad for 2,200 milliamp. But there's no friggin' weight to it, so I need more weight, so I need more milliamps. And a little bit bigger battery never hurts anyhow. So I'm going to run 2 of them, so that's going to be, little things at a time I'm going to have to mod on this thing. So I need to add more weight for traction anyhow, but then running them in parallel, I can crawl for 10 hours by the time I'm done with this thing. Because that's going to give me 8,000 milliamps running 2 4s in parallel. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of amperage, more than what I'm going to need. But the other downside, of course, is our steering link system is chintzy, flimsy plastic. It's okay for the summertime, I guess, but for the winter, that's going to shatter. So yeah, that's got to go. Well, I'm kind of hoping maybe December, if everything works out right, maybe closer to January, before I can get some mod parts to this thing. Got to make it through Christmas, right? But that's a critical baddie on this thing. I don't mind the fact that the bottom links are plastic, and they're actually pretty decent. They are going to be switched over to metal eventually, but as plastic ones, they do work really well, and I'm fine with those. That's not really a huge crab for me. This steering system is a massive crab for me. That's garbage. The kits come with metal bottom links and metal steering links. Axial, I mean, for what they're wanting for these trucks, they should be giving us metal links. Even the Wraith is almost $500 and its steering link system is even worse than this. It'll last you about 2.2 seconds, and the steering rod bar strips right out of the steering link bar, like that quick. Just crap. This one is not stripping. It's actually doing really well. It's actually better than what the Wraith has, but it's still crappy either way. The tires, now for dry stuff, the tires grip really good. Loose sand, of course, they're not going to, especially on steep inclines, but you know, they're okay, and they're really good on, you know, climbing rocks and climbing anything that they can get some traction into. But as soon as you get them wet or you get mud on them, you're done. You got no traction left. Okay, so they're pretty crappy tires that way. I took this thing out for its first winter run actually yesterday. I think it was yesterday? Yeah, yesterday or the day before. Anyways, I put up some video of it. Overall it didn't do too bad in the backyard, and I tried to go on a few steep angles, forget it, zero traction. We got a little bit of snow, and the tires just clogged right up immediately. It's like all of a sudden they just attract snow, and it's like, what? You know, and so you're basically driving around on snowballs that have no traction. So ripsaws I think would be a better choice for this truck for tires, or something even more luggier. But I am going to get some ripsaws for the time being, until I can afford the rims that I want and the actual tires that I want in the end on this thing. And no, I'm not going to tell you what they are, because that's a surprise. But in the meantime, I'm going to order some ripsaws as soon as I get some money, because it's not going to cost me much for 4 of them. Anyway, rock sliders are nice. They actually, they do save your body shell, like severely, you know, so yeah, nothing's getting at your body shell too easily, except for the no back bumper thing, right? So you need a back bumper. The Poison Wraith spider bumper is what's on the front of these things. Works really well. I've actually been in positions where I've gotten into this angle, or I've smacked into something, and yeah, it's definitely going to save you. The metal chassis, C-framing, very nice. Very realistic truck overall. I mean, it's a lot like a real vehicle, you know, and as such you also have to use it within the limitations of what a real vehicle could actually go through in real life for trail running and, you know, going through ruts and rock terrains, you know. And as long as you keep that in mind, I mean, this truck is going to do awesome, and it does. You know, when you push it beyond its limits, well, it's going to get hung up a lot, and you know, that's normal, right? So if you want to do true rock crawling, buy a rock crawler, you know. But if you want to do some light rock crawling and a lot of trail running, buy this, you know, or convert your rock crawler like I did. But I still wanted a real trail truck, and I like the Axials. I think they're pretty nice machines. Now, the shocks, they're not bad. They are adjustable for tension, which is good, so you can stiffen them up, and they're already, you know, stiff enough from the factory, as far as I'm concerned. But you don't have a lot of front travel. You know, I mean, you can't even bottom that shock out. There's still like another 1/4 of an inch or more to go, you know. But at least on the back, I mean, you can bottom these out if you need to, you know. Lots of travel. So I'm going to go with about 10mm longer shocks, which will actually bring the overall height probably, well, about here maybe. It's going to be a little bit taller, but not by much, you know. And so, because I want some extra travel. Anyway, the receiver box is still the same as any of them. It's not waterproof or water resistant. So if you want to make it waterproof, well, do so. There's many ways to do that. I think I'm just going to seal my wires off with some silicone, you know, and maybe make a silicone seal for the inside of the lid, and that'll keep water out for sure. The Tactic metal geared servo that comes with this is actually water resistant. They do not say waterproof, they say water resistant. It's a cover your butt statement, I'm sure. But I've gone through and gotten this thing wet, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't care. The ESC is an upgraded ESC. It's the AE5 waterproof LiPo-compatible ESC. The other ESCs will run LiPo, yes, but this one will run 2S or 3S, just plug and go. Okay, there's just jumpers on here to make sure that you're on either NIMPAC or LiPo. So make sure it's on LiPo if you're running a LiPo, and you can also alter your drag brake. I'm just leaving my drag brake at 100% because I prefer it there. As far as the motor goes, you've got your typical Axial. I believe this is a 27 turn motor. Just let me grab the spec here off the website. I don't memorize everything, and I don't really care to. Yes, it is a 27 turn. The truck goes, I'd probably say, about 12, maybe 15 miles an hour tops full throttle, which I think is a little bit fast, but it does make it for being a little bit fun too at the same time. It does offer a lot of torque with the present gearing, but Axial does suggest and recommend highly, if you're going to do a lot of crawling with this and steep inclines, to gear it down or you will cook the motor. And if you do cook your motor, by the way, you have a 99% chance of cooking your ESC when your motor cooks. And I've done it before, and almost every time, in fact, I've cooked a motor, I've taken the ESC out with it. So yeah, you want to gear it down. And I'm going to be gearing this thing down eventually, probably more towards next summer. I'll gear it down when the trail system is back opened up again, and I start getting, you know, I'll have a lot of mods done. I should have all my mods done on this thing by next summer, you know, if everything works out. But I do still have to work on my Genesis boat too to get it ready for the spring. So things will be shifted back and forth. I'm going to go for a dual battery tray system, and I'm going to run probably two 4,000 milliamp, either 2 cells or 3 cells. You can slow the truck down by running 2 cell. I am running 3 cell in it right now. It's actually this little 2200 milliamp guy, and I can run for an easy 2 hours plus with this battery. I haven't torched it yet, and I've been already over 2 hours in the trails and still plenty of juice left over, so you know, it does do a really good job in the trails for crawling purposes. But if you start doing a lot of full throttling and stuff, yep, you're going to chew it up. So 2200 milliamp gets sucked up quick that way. But for crawling purposes, awesome. But I'm still going to go with 4,000 milliamps, and I'll probably dial it down to 2 cell just to lower my speed a bit, because I really I didn't buy this thing for speed. I want to crawl with it. I want to do trails with it. I know I'm not going to do serious crawling with it. That's why you need a crawler for that. But for the purposes I bought it for, I don't need all that speed. I need torque, you know. Yeah, the steel chassis rails, that's definitely major pluses there. So yeah. A lot of good points there, guys. A lot of good points. But you know, it does have its baddies about it. And you do have to do some upgrades, you know, like serious upgrades. Now, I don't bash this thing like a lot of people do, so I really don't have to go to metal drivetrain or anything. But I'm probably eventually going to swap this out. But what I'll probably do first, because of expenses, is I'll swap out my caster blocks and my steering knuckles, my steering links. I'm going to swap out my bottom links for sure, and I'll probably swap out the drive shafts to metal anyways, just because, you know, I can, you know, but I'm going to run these for as long as I can anyhow and just see how durable they really are. It'll probably be one of the last things that I even bother to upgrade, you know, but at least it's got an upgraded drive shaft system. It's a 3-piece system. It's not the 2-piece Twizzlers. And what I mean by 2-piece Twizzlers is a lot of guys are putting a lot of power through these things, or they're doing a lot of beating to them, and they break or they turn into Twizzlers. If you know Twizzler licorice, yeah, it's yeah. So these ones is supposed to prevent that problem from happening. So far I've got no complaints. I actually like that. So these have a lot of good points even over some of the kits right now, because I don't know of any of the kits that actually come with the 3-piece driveline yet. And you can't get the deadbolt in a kit yet. When they do, I actually might buy a deadbolt in a kit and build it, and then just build it the way, you know, I want it, you know. Yeah, the kits actually do come, like I said, with metal links on the bottom and metal steering links from what I've been seeing. You know, whereas the RTRs, it's all this plastic stuff. Now with the kits, you're not getting any electronics either, so keep that in mind. It's technically, I find it's cheaper in the long haul to buy an RTR machine and slap a battery in and then do some upgrades, because A, it's already built, B, you got all the stock electronics right from Axial, so it's matched the whole gearing system and everything, you know, and then you can go from there and play. I have no interest in doing brushless motor upgrade on this thing at all. It's going to stay brushed, and that's just the way it goes. But it's definitely going to get, you know, light kit systems put in and all that other stuff down the road. It does come with the D-links, or D-rings for tow hooks. You get actually 4 of these, but you don't get any screws, which is kind of retarded. You need screws. Hello, Axial, you forgot something in the package, screws. But I did buy metal ones that I can put on here. But I'm going to wait, I think, until I get my metal bumpers to use them. But I'm also going to buy a few more sets too, because I got them at a really nice price out of China. And so I might buy a few more sets because I want them for my Summit too. And I want to put them on my crawler if I can fit them on there. I want to put a couple sets on there. And, you know, this is going to get a winch put on. So yeah, you know, this bumper, forget it for a winch. It's just not going to be durable enough for a winch. You know, so don't think about putting a winch on this bumper. Not a good plan. But anyways, overall, the rest of it, it's a really nice truck. I really do like the truck, guys. Honestly, I do, and I would do it again and again and again. Especially at that price, $335, tax, the oversize on the shipping. The main shipping was free, $390 to my door. I really like that. You know, that was a good price, because I mean, when you compare, I'm just going to spin around here. I've got the website I bought from is actually Great Hobbies. I love dealing with these guys. Now, my other choice was actually the G6 Falcon, and it was $399. I still might get it down the road. The AX10 Deadbolt, I would definitely recommend staying away from it. I don't like anything about that thing myself, but, you know, and I don't even own one. And I don't even have to see it up close and personal, but you get enough pictures that you can look at online, and yeah, it's just not the kind of truck that I would want. It's just, I don't know. But I am going to get the Poison Spider Wraith, because I like the style of it better. I think it's a nicer style than the regular Wraith. I'm still going to have to do the steering link system right away, so when I do order the Poison Spider, at the same time, I'm going to order all the parts that I already know have to be metallized right away. And I'm also going to gear that one down too. Now it goes about 11 miles an hour with a wind to its back type of thing. It's not fast, but it's larger scale in comparison to this thing. And I've got drivers for it already, which is cool. And I was hoping to use my drivers on this thing, but I can't. So, oh well. But that's okay. I got one driver and he's good enough, and I don't need a passenger yet. But the Poison Spider, I like the styling of that shell better. But it's just, I don't know, something about it. So I'm going to get it. Will be my one Wraith that I get. I don't need to have one of every Axial. I'm very picky and on what I'm going to have for Axial products. Especially after getting this one, and it's like, okay, I know I'm going to have to do a lot of stuff. So now I'm pre-prepping ahead of time for any other new Axial machines I buy. I'm really researching them out good, and because I've had experience already working on a Wraith, I already know exactly what I have to upgrade first before I do anything with it. Before I even run it, it's going to get stripped down for whatever parts have to be ripped out, throw in the metal parts, and then I'll go out and have fun with it, and then I don't have to worry about it, right? But anyways, so yeah, so stay tuned over the season. There is going to be mods happening on this. There will be more videos as we go, that sort of stuff. But there's definitely going to be a lot of modifications being done to this guy to upgrade him the way I want it. And but so far, I am pretty happy with it, even just the way it is, you know, overall. Even with the side effects or bad points, I'm still very happy with my purchase, and I think it was definitely worthwhile. You know, so that's great. So anyways, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them as always. I'll do the best I can to answer them. But ahead of time, no, I have not adjusted my slipper. No, I have not bothered to detune it yet. with a smaller pinion. I have not done anything to this other than plug batteries in and run so far. And of course I have thoroughly inspected stuff. But I do have another idea though that I wanted to share with you guys while I got your attention, hopefully still. I'm going to try a little experiment. I still have my 4 HSP Brontosaurus, aka Red Cat Volcano, tires. I got 4 of these, but I'm only going to make use of 2 of them. And I'm going to see if they'll mount on here. Because they're the same height, okay, pretty much. They're, oh, maybe not even a quarter of an inch taller, really. But they're wider, so this is going to offer me more stability. Because the one other thing that I should mention before we go, I do find this thing rather tipsy, okay, very tipsy. I pick this thing up a lot, and that can be a little annoying. So I want to try and get rid of some of that problem by maybe going to wider back tires. So if I find that those work, then I'll just find a rim that I can put a much wider back tire on. I don't want to run dualies. It's too much extra expense and hassle as far as I'm concerned, and I really don't want dually tires. But I want stability. So if I can't get what I'm after, well then I'll just leave it alone and stick with, you know, these type of tires, right? But I'm going to try that and see what happens. And if it does work out okay, I'll put it on video for you and you can see how it works. But that was the only other, you know, thing, is I found a little tipsy, but I expected the tipsiness because of being such a narrow wheelbase. It is very narrow even compared to my Red Cat. My RS10 is way wider than this thing, and this thing will get through spots the Red Cat can't. And equally as such, even my big Summit, you know, it's going to get through spots my Summit just can't go. You know, so that was another thing that really turned me on about an Axial SCX10, was how narrow these things are. However, I didn't realize how tippy they were, but, you know, it's, as long as you keep the throttle under control and you watch the angles you're driving across on a side angle, you're fine. You're not going to flip too easily, but, you know, you got to kind of watch it. And it does get real tempting to pull the trigger a lot on this thing, just because it is so fast compared to a crawler out of the box. Like my RS10, it's lucky if it can do 4 miles an hour. You know, that's full throttle, you know, but it's all torque, right? This thing has got a bit of torque, but then it's got a lot of speed, you know, so it's kind of a, you can bash this thing, you can trail run it, you can crawl with it. It's kind of like the sort of all-in-one kind of dealy. The only thing missing is locking and unlocking differentials and a 2-speed tranny, really. You know, that would be some nice technology if they could pull that off. Basically have all the Summit features, but in one of these. Oh, there goes my battery alarm. That's one battery charged. So yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. So anyways, like I said, questions, comments, feel free to leave them. Catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.